In today's video, I want to help you sound more informal and more conversational in your speaking dialogues. In case you haven't checked my first video, just check part 1, it's over here somewhere, and I'll be here waiting for you, okay? Let's begin. Hi there, my name is Monica and I'm an English teacher in the south of Spain. And today I want to help you to sound more informal and more conversational in your dialogue. If you're an EOI student, you will probably know that in your speaking exams you have two parts. The first part is the monologue, where you have to speak about a topic, and you are required to use certain expressions, certain structures that are considered to be quite formal. However, when you go to the dialogue, many times you are asked to speak to a friend or to a family member, and therefore your register needs to be much more relaxed and much more informal. So today I want to show you phrases, structures, connectors that you might use in this type of situations. Let's begin. First, we're going to talk about how to react when you're having a conversation with your partner. Okay, so it's very important in dialogues to react to what the other person is saying. Remember that a dialogue is not two monologues, so basically you have to show surprise, you have to show agreement, you have to show irritation, you have to show disgust, you have to show disagreement, many other things. So you need to know what to say. One thing that you might say is gotcha. Okay, gotcha is a combination of the words got and you, that when put together in connected speech, it sounds gotcha. Cha, all right? It means I understand you. I understood you in the past, okay? So if you are, for example, planning a holiday together, your partner might tell you, listen, make sure that you book the plane tickets tonight. And you say, gotcha, okay? Gotcha means I understand you and I'm gonna do it. Another expression that you might want to use, and it's one of my favorites, is fair enough. Fair enough. We use this expression to show that we agree with something that someone has said or someone has done. So for instance, if your classmate is talking about, just say, the benefits of becoming a vegetarian, okay, he might or she might tell you reasons why you should become a vegetarian. So they might say, following a healthy vegetarian diet is highly beneficial because it will help you with weight loss, as well as preventing cancer and diabetes. So if you want to show that you agree with that person, you might say, okay, fair enough. Fair enough means I agree with you, all right? Not only that, you might use fair enough, but just to show that you agree, but you have a different view. So for example, you might say to that, fair enough, but I don't think it's for me. I believe that I don't want to give up my favorite food, which is meat, for example. Okay, so you might say, fair enough, but, and then you give your own opinion. Another fantastic expression that you might want to use in informal dialogues is how come. How come? How come is basically another way of saying why or what is the reason. All right. If you're walking around in the street and you meet your friend at 9 o'clock in the morning, you might say, hey, how come you're not at work? How come you are not at work? It means, why are you not at work? I expect you to be at work, okay? So it's what we say in Spanish. For instance, we say, ¿cómo que no estás en el trabajo? ¿Cómo que no has estudiado? ¿Cómo que no? ¿Y cómo es eso? Okay? How come? Another example, how come you told him? It was a secret. How come? And the final expression that you might want to use to react to somebody's phrases or someone's comments is so or so what? In Spanish we say, ¿y qué? So for example, if you're having a coffee with your friends because you're planning your next holiday together, you might say, guys, I'm really sorry, but I lost my job yesterday, so I'm afraid I cannot travel with you. And then your friend, who is a millionaire, might say, so what? I'll take care of your ticket, don't worry. It means, ¿y qué? All right, so what? Okay, so the second thing that you can do to sound more informal in your dialogues is the use of slang. Slang is basically the English that is spoken in the streets, okay? The English that basically we never learn from books, okay? So instead of saying, for example, I'm really tired, you might say, I'm knackered. Knackered, okay? So knackered is the slang way to say I'm really, really tired. Another good one is to lose the plot. To lose the plot, which basically means to be angry. Okay, so for example, you say, I cannot believe how your mom lost the plot last night. Okay, it means to become really, really angry. Of course, there's so many ways to say that somebody is drunk. Okay, and there's so many slang words that you can use. For example, you can say someone is pissed, someone is hammered, or someone is plastered, okay? So we went out last night and oh my gosh, we were so hammered, or we were so plastered, or we were really pissed, okay? It means we were really drunk. Another slang word that you might want to use is to be skinned. To be skinned means to have no money, to be broke, okay? But in a very colloquial way. So be careful with who you say this expression to, okay? So I'm skinned, I have no money. And the opposite is to be loaded. To be loaded means to have lots of money, okay? To be very rich, you say, hey, she married that guy. He's loaded, okay? He's loaded. The final slang word that you might want to use is to be nuts. To be nuts, to be crazy, all right? So for example, say that you're having a dialogue together with your classmate and they tell you something crazy. For example, tomorrow I am moving to Thailand and I'm gonna live on top of a mountain with no phone, okay? Are you going to tell your friend, are you nuts? Are you nuts? Are you crazy? Okay, but it's very colloquial and very informal. Okay, so the third thing that you want to do to sound more informal and more natural is to use the fantastic verb get. Okay, get is what I call the comodín verb because it's good for everything, and of course it's got millions and thousands of meanings. Okay, one of the main meanings is to obtain something. Okay, to obtain something, but obviously if you're having a chat with your friend, you're not gonna say I need to obtain blah blah blah. Okay, you're gonna use get. So for instance, if you are going on holiday again, you can tell it's the summer, I'm only talking about holidays, you say, well, I need to get a visa in order to visit that country, okay? So instead of saying I need to obtain a visa, you say I need to get a visa. The same thing happens with the meaning arrive, okay? You might want to say, okay, I'm going to arrive home at 9 o'clock, or I'm going to get home at 9 o'clock, okay? It's a very informal way to say the same thing. And finally, another meaning for okay is to understand, all right? If someone is telling you or explaining a difficult concept and finally you understand it, you would say, okay, I get it now, I get it. It means I really understand it now. Do you get the verb get? Tell me now what you think of get in the comment. Okay, and now we're going to focus on certain verbs that we want to avoid, and instead we're going to use more informal equivalents. So for instance, instead of using the verb help, okay, which is a very neutral verb, you can use it for any type of situation, why don't you use give a hand, to give a hand, all right? So hey, why don't you just give me a hand with my homework? I need help, okay? Another expression that you might find useful is to give a shout, okay? To give a shout. So it's not literally, to give a shout, but basically to tell somebody something. So for instance, imagine you are looking for a job and you talk to your friend and you say, listen, if you hear anything, if you know of any restaurants who are looking for waitresses, please give me a shout. Give me a shout means let me know or call me to tell me. Another one that I particularly like is the verb or the expression to give it a try. Instead of the verb try, you can say give it a try, give it a go, or give it a shot, okay? To give it a try, a go, or a shot. All those mean the same, which is to try something. So if you're having a conversation in a dialogue with your classmate and he's thinking about I don't know, moving abroad to improve their English, you might say, and they are a little bit scared, you might say, well, you know, just give it a try, or give it a go, or give it a shot. It means just try and see what happens. Another verb that you want to avoid and maybe choose a more informal one is the verb to thank, okay? To thank somebody. Instead of saying thank you, okay, when someone does a favor for you, you might want to say cheers. Okay, cheers. So if they give you something or a little present or they do a favor, you can say cheers instead of thank you, and you will sound much more informal and colloquial. And finally, our last verb is to kid. To kid means to joke, okay? So if you are talking to your friend and you say, Mary, I just won the lottery, I'm not kidding. I am not kidding means I am not joking, okay? So kid is the informal version of to joke. And finally, the last way that will help you sound more informal and more conversational in your dialogues is the use of quantifiers or modifiers. So for example, when you're speaking about amounts, okay, and you want to say a lot of something or many of something, in English you would use many or much or a lot of, okay? But an informal way to say that is tons of, okay? And also heaps of, tons of. It means a large quantity of something. So for instance, you might say, well, you know what? I have a little problem. I have tons of shoes. I have tons of shoes. It means you have a lot of shoes, all right? And if you tell your friend, I'm so sorry, I cannot go out tonight. I have heaps of work to do. I have heaps of work to do. It's the same as saying I have a lot of work. Now, one of my favorite ways to sound colloquial and informal is the use of super, okay? So instead of saying my uncle is very nice, you might want to say my uncle is super nice. Yes, so you place super in front of the adjective nice to give it more emphasis, and it's like a replacement of very, okay? So he's super nice. Or you might say I am super excited about my holidays. You see, I'm talking about holidays again. So I'm super excited about my holidays or my birthday party or whatever it is, okay? And finally, today's word to help you sound more informal is the word way, okay? But not way in the una manera o un camino, okay? So you place way in front of some words to give it emphasis, and it would mean a lot of or not enough of something. So for example, you say, oh, I'm so sorry, I cannot buy this phone. Is way too expensive. It's way too expensive. If you say it's very expensive or it's too expensive, it's really strong. But if you place way in front, it would be even more, okay? Multiplied by 10. It's way too expensive for me, okay? And this can be applied with any adjective that you like. So you might say, I'm not going there, I'm not going to that city, it's way too far. It's way too far, okay? All right, so that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching the video right until the end. You are a champion. And make sure that you have checked the first video in my channel, where I give you more tips and more phrases and more words to sound more slang and more colloquial in your dialogues. Please let me know which of these tips did you like the best, and I'll see you very, very soon. Take care. Bye.